Hi everyone, I'm John Fenzel here in Arlington National Cemetery in section 46. It's this beautiful fall day. In the distance there's a caisson. I don't know if you can see it from here, that is getting ready to do probably the final burial of the day. But since we're here, I thought I'd just show you around just a little bit. And there behind me here is the memorial to the Spanish-American War. And then off here behind me is the USS Maine Memorial, and then further off to the right, where the crowd is assembling there, is the memorials to the Space Shuttle Challenger and Columbia crews that perished, and then also in that area is the memorial to the men who died during the Iran rescue mission. So what I really wanted to do is talk to you about one man. He was the most decorated soldier of World War II, and of course you've heard of his name, Audie Murphy. But you may have seen his picture, but what you may not be familiar with is his whole story. And so I'm going to try to do that pretty briefly. He's actually buried right here in section 46, and if we can make it over there, we'll try to do that. But Audie Murphy grew up on a sharecropper farm in Hunt County, Texas. He was left to raise his 10 brothers and sisters when his father just deserted his family, deserted his mom. And so he was only 16 when that happened, and he was watching all of his brothers and sisters being farmed off to orphanages and also off to relatives. And so he was trying to escape that. And when war was declared in 1942, he tried to join the Marines. He had to lie about his age, but it wasn't his age that kept him out of the Marines. It was his size. He wasn't tall enough to meet their minimum requirements, so then he tried to join as a U.S. paratrooper, and again he was denied. So he was pretty despondent, and he just was looking for anybody who would take him. So he settled on the infantry, and following basic training, where he also just really excelled, he was assigned to the 5th Regiment of the 3rd Infantry Division in North Africa that was preparing to invade Sicily. And it was there in 1943 that he saw his first combat, and where he proved himself just to be this incredible marksman, and also very, very adept at small unit tactics. And then they landed at Salerno, and then Anzio, all the way on their route up to Rome. And throughout those campaigns, Murphy just continued to advance in rank, while a lot of his superior officers were being transferred or wounded or killed. And so that's when he received his battlefield commission. And shortly after his unit had withdrawn from Italy to train for the invasion of southern France, Murphy's division had taken 4,500 casualties, and he became one of the most decorated men in his company. But his biggest fight was still ahead, because on January 26, 1945, near this small village of Holtzwihr in eastern France, Audie Murphy's forward positions came under just this incredibly fierce attack by the Germans, with 6 Panzer tanks and 250 infantrymen that were approaching. And so Murphy ordered his men to fall back so that they could get some better defenses, and then alone he mounted an abandoned burning tank destroyer, and with just a single machine gun he opened fire on the Nazis that were advancing, very, very rapidly. And it was then that he was wounded in the leg during just incredibly heavy fire. But he stayed there for an entire hour fighting, and then the German soldiers were on 3 sides of him, and he was then trying to lead his men into a counterattack, and that ultimately drove the Nazi forces out of that village of Holtzwihr. And for that action alone, he was awarded the Medal of Honor for his just incredible act of bravery, staying there for an entire hour on that tank and holding back that Nazi advance. And so, by war's end, Murphy had become the nation's most decorated soldier. He had earned, I think, 28 awards, including 3 from France and 1 from Belgium. And he had been wounded 3 times by May 1945. And what's really significant about that is that once victory had been achieved in Europe, he hadn't even achieved his own 21st birthday. So it's really a pretty incredible feat. But following that, he came back home to this this hero's welcome in the United States, and he was on the cover of Life magazine. And then James Cagney had persuaded him to start up his acting career, but the only problem was that he was just really shy and unassuming. So he arrived in Hollywood only with his good looks and by his account, absolutely zero talent. But despite that, he went on to make 40 films, and he then published his own memoirs, To Hell and Back, and then about a year later, they made that into a movie, and they asked him to star in that and to play himself. And so, but still today, all the film critics will tell you that the best movie that he ever made, and his best performance, was Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane, that Civil War epic. But after 20 years, he retired from acting. He tried to start up a career in business, but that didn't go well. He went into bankruptcy by 1968, and the other problem that Murphy was having was that he was suffering from what we now know today as post-traumatic stress, and they didn't have any of the treatments that we have available to our soldiers today. He said that he oftentimes, he couldn't go to sleep without a loaded pistol under his pillow, and so he was haunted by all those wartime memories. But and then in 1971, he was 46 years old, and he got on a private plane, and the plane went down right over Roanoke, Virginia. And today, Murphy is buried here in the cemetery, and I'm going to see if I can't head over there. I'm going to pan out just so you can see where it looks, and you can see the Memorial Amphitheater right there in the distance. And I'm going to walk kind of fast here, but they made a special flagstone pathway to accommodate all of the visitors that come here every single day, and just to be able to pay their respects to America's most decorated World War II soldier. His grave is just like all the others that you see here, in Vermont marble. Government issue. And there he is right here in the corner. Here's the flagstone pathway. I'm breaking the rules here just a little bit so you can see it. But Audie L. Murphy, Texas, Major Infantry, World War II, May 28, 1971. And you can see the Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, Oak Leaf Cluster, Legion of Merit, Purple Heart, 2 Oak Leaf Clusters. So there you have it, folks. Audie Murphy, one of the most decorated soldiers in the history of the United States, here in the company of heroes at Arlington National Cemetery. I thought you'd like to know.